Hang on a second. These are in the wrong order. Chat, why don't you tell me these are in the wrong order? Come on, chat. You got one job. Got one job to make sure I do this professionally. Right, Tomb Raider 4, Last Revelations. Came out a year after this one. Is it any better, though? That's the question. We'll find out. It's pretty... It plays exactly the same as these, like I've said before, because these all kind of play the same. The only thing different in this one is they added more open world-ish. I don't want to say... It's not, like, full open world, but they tried to make it... They tried to make it, like... Not, like, a solid level, a solid level, a solid level with a gap in between. They tried to, like, make it all flow into one with the loading screens in between different areas. And they did that because they had a new engine. That means that Lara gets more animations. Yay, we love Lara with more animations. She can swing on ropes, shimmy around the corner of a ledge, which was really useful. And I noticed in this game that Lara started to look better than the NPCs. The NPCs looked really, really blocky compared to Lara. Lighting and environments are better. Cutscenes look better. It's just... Visually, it's just all around better than these ones. It's better than this garb. Anyway... I just read one of my notes. That's going to be great to read that out. Yeah, the backtracking for this was terrible in this one because there's such a lack of signposting. If this game just had like just a little extra hint, it'd be a lot better. Be a lot better. It was just like the levels were well designed compared to this one, but it just lacked a little bit of signposting. The puzzles in this game weren't the same as these ones, where you have to push a button or pull a lever to get through. There's actually one section where you have to put in a code, only it's vague AF, and it's just like, no. This is where the 5-head meme came from in the channel, because it was just outrageously hard for what it needed to be because it was so vague. And the only thing I enjoyed about this one was the little chess puzzle. That was good fun. I can't remember whereabouts in the game it was because I've deleted this from my memory, but it was a good one. Oh, there's a Sphinx puzzle. Sphinx puzzle and that can die in a fire. It can legit die in a fire. That's so vague as fuck. I needed a guide for it, but it is what it is. This one lets you open doors, though. You can actually open doors. The game doesn't tell you can open doors, but it lets you open doors. Here we go, Tegs. You'll like this one. You like my little note here on the gameplay. The poison mechanic's still in here. Right, but the poison mechanic in Tomb Raider 3 was so shit, they thought, right, we'll make it even shitter for Tomb Raider 4. It's complete, utter shit. Enemies are basically the same. Some enemies got melee weapons, though, so it made it even more annoying, because they're like these ninjas that will just spin their little, like, blades around and you can't shoot them. It's like, oh, okay, you're just going to make it really hard now. They also added death beetles, where they just drain your health as soon as they touch you. It was more bollocks that this game didn't need. Let's just pop it down here a little bit. It's dropping as we talk. They added a scope in it. It was terrible to use because clunky controls. Which again, tank controls. They didn't update the controls. The only thing that the only redeeming quality about the controls is they got rid of the tiny gaps when swimming. So swimming is instantly better than this one. Oh, the rope swinging. Yeah. Yeah, the rope swinging. I've got a clip of that as well. I'll put that in. This looks better, chat. This looks better. Nailed it. No! What the f... Story-wise, though, there is actually story to this one. You learn a little bit about how Lara became Lara with Werner von Croy. The tutorial actually is really good. You start as like a little kid Lara, and it teaches you through the game as well as adding a little bit of story. We also learn why she's a bit arrogant and a bit ruthless, which is good. I think I've talked enough about difficulty spike with a lack of signposting. If this game had a map, the difficulty spike wouldn't be as bad. Oh, there you go, chat. I made a comment about backtracking as well. Backtracking isn't great with it being one big level. We got lost on the Alexandria bit because that was just terrible. Music, sound effect, and voice acting is pretty much the same. Lara's good. It's like they spent all the time like making Lara good, but everything else not good. The other characters are sketchy. So yeah, So here we go. Do I recommend this game? This game throws so much Tomb Raider bullshit at you. It's outrageous. This is where we coined Tomb Raider bullshit. This is where Nico came up with the extra command, because it just adds extra bollocks difficulty at you. It's just, no, it's just fucking terrible. Righto game, righto. I've seen some bullshit in my time. I've seen some bullshit in this game, but that was chef's kiss. I did not expect that. Like I say, no signposting, puzzles are vague. It does look better though. That's literally about the only thing it's got going for it. The puzzles needed a bit more, how can I put it? The puzzles need to just be generally more approachable, because they're just not approachable at all. They needed some sort of indication of how they're solved, not just some randomness of solving a you get it's hieroglyphics, so it's like you assume it's what's on the paper, but it's not. It's just ridiculous. And I see what they were trying to do with the level design as well, but it just didn't work because there's no map or compass. I got a note here about mods. Again, if you're playing it, if you want to play it, I don't know why the fuck you would want to play it. If you're playing it on PC, you need to mod it for controller support, because again, Lara's got that many actions now. It's not easy on the keyboard controls. So, all in all, this gets a no from me, brother. It's even below F tier. She's just gonna peek her head out there, and that's the first controversy of the tier list, because a lot of people think this is a great game. They're wrong. Oh, that there. Fucking hell, chat. Chat, you ain't getting paid this month now. Michael, when you that's why I had to review them. And as I was reviewing them, I was like, oh god, I remember all this stuff. I remember all this bollocks. So yeah, I'm glad I reviewed it, else some of them I wouldn't have even remembered. Like I say, I deleted a lot of these from my mind. It's just I didn't need them. You remember the hieroglyph puzzle? Yeah, it was that one for Tith where if you put the code in wrong, it opened a door and you just went around in a circle. It's just like, why? Anyway, the next game, Tomb Raider 5, this is from the year 2000. It can't be that bad, can it? Well. Right, I've got to go up there now, because that was fucking obvious, wasn't it? The direction to go up there was fucking obvious. Chat, how many of you knew to go up there? Well, it's the last PS1 game, so we've exhausted that. In this game, Lara can tightrope walk, which they didn't use at all in it. Probably for like one moment that I remember. She can let herself off a ledge forwards, where in the old games you'd have to turn around and drop down backwards. This one she can literally just go up to an edge and drop down, which is useful. Finally, they upgraded something that was worth it. She can use horizontal bars, again, kind of like in this one, but horizontal bars as opposed to vines. And she can search shelves. Particularly, she needed to do that in, I think it was another Russian level, because obviously it's always, once this came out with a Russian level, they just kept milking the well of the level design. You can't change controls, so it's still tank controls. You would have thought by now of game number 5 you'd actually change the controls, but no. The puzzles are the same as they have been. Pull the lever, go to the door, escape. There's one puzzle on the island level that took me forever to do because it was just ridiculously stupid. Combat, it's the same. Lara's aimbot. The story-wise, we see some of Lara's past. I don't want to spoil it in case nobody's played this one. It's directly from this one. But you see stories from old adventures of Lara. We also learn that she's an absolute bitch in this one. Like, don't cross her because she will do things that you'll regret. There's one level that I just didn't like at all because it added more paranormal stuff to it, and I was like, I know there's a bit of fantasy in Tomb Raider, but it was just a bit much for me. Difficulty spike. It starts off, this is the cliche of it's a game of two halves. The first half, it was all right. The second half is just bullshit. Complete utter bullshit. What? I like 20 tapped him in the face. Righto. I want that helmet in Tarkov. Bloody hell. Once you get to Island, then it changes. The level design is sketchy. The last level, don't even get me started on how bad the last level is. The last level is just so badly done. It made me want to actually never play Tomb Raider ever again. That's no lie. It was just so bad. It looks, graphically, it looks pretty much the same as Tomb Raider 4, because it's pretty much, they worked on these pretty much at the same time, near enough. There's some times where some of the backgrounds look worse than Tomb Raider 1. It's like they focused everything on Lara and not like the things around her, which makes it not the best looking in certain areas, but it's no worse than Tomb Raider 4, but it's no better, even though it's like the last game of the PS1 era of Tomb Raider games. The voice acting again is equally as bad as it ever has been. Musically, again, it's not the best. It's probably the worst musically. So, do I recommend it? I recommend the first half, which is weird. It's like, why would you want to play half a game? Just play half a game. Story-wise, you don't miss anything. You don't even need to play this if you was playing the whole series, because it doesn't add anything. It doesn't add that much that's worth it. But the second half of this game is absolute garb. It's so bad, the second half. There's so many bugs that it can actually completely kill the game. It's that bad. It's also high on the Tomb Raider bullshit list. And then I can use the key that the guy gave me. Just turn the electricity off, forehead. From the most ridiculous place, which you, unless you are actually looking at that broken, like, grate, you won't fucking know it's there. What is this shit? The New York level is just, it's infamous for being terrible. There's one bit which tells you that you have to do something, but in the PC version, there's no actual voice prompt for it. So I didn't understand that. It was only by trial and error that it happened. How they allowed it to be released is just not good at all. It's just so random. Again, if you do want to play it, you'll need a controller mod. Oh, I got a note here saying that the hair and clothes just started randomly being stuck. So it must have been this one where the hair stuck and the dress got stuck. If you're a first-time player, definitely do not start with that one. I don't know why you would start with Chronicles. If any of your friends that have played Tomb Raider said start with Chronicles, unfriend them. Don't ever talk to them ever again. Don't just have nothing to do with them. Block them on every form of social media. That said, it's going in E. It's not this level of shit. This is, particularly this one. This one's a complete whole new level of shit. This is shit. It's not as shit. It's almost shit. Matter of fact, can I put half and half in here? The first half is E. The second half is F. That's what we're doing. The first half, E rank. You're not wasting anything playing half of it. Second half, you're wasting all your time. Is this the last level? Oh my god, it is. Chat, we can do this in an hour. Easy. I was just going to see if there's a secret there, and the game's like, ha 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 ha, bitch. The first half, I enjoyed the first half. I was like, it's not doing anything worse than Tomb Raider's ever done. It's pretty much the same. But the second half, the bullshit was off the charts. Ugh. I don't want to spoil the story. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't think anybody really gives a fuck. The bullshit with the bugs and that, where there's an unkillable robot that it doesn't tell you about and you don't figure it out. There's another thing where there's another part where there's a helicopter that shoots at you, and you have to get something to follow you to open a door, and it can bug out so it doesn't follow you, and it's just the last level particularly. It's just a no for me, brother. It's just no. If this goes on YouTube, this is probably the one that people are gonna want to know where it places. So, Angel of Darkness, 2003. We had a break. It's on the PlayStation 2, PC. Infamous for reasons. Those of you that don't know the story, it's supposedly the one that killed the franchise. So where does it rank, though? That's the question. I played it on PC. I played it with no mods. I played it completely straight off Steam. There was no whatever version's on Steam as of, it must have been 2021 when I played it. Matter of fact, I can find out. Age of Darkness. Last played May 16th, 2021. I completed that the day after my birthday. So as of then, it's whatever version was on Steam. Gameplay-wise, there's this RPG leveling system, which we all know she's stronger now.
I feel stronger now.
It's a bit more storytelling than any of these. Probably even a bit more than 4, which is good. Oh god, yeah, you switch characters in this one. I just realised. I can't remember if his name's Trent or Kurt or whatever his name is, but you switch characters from Lara, so you don't play as Lara in this one, specifically. I don't remember any of the puzzles in this game, except the boiler puzzle, which I think I had to flick some switches, but that's all I remember. So we're off to a good start with this one. It's usual Tomb Raider enemies. I don't want to say too much at the minute because we're going to move on to controls in a minute. This game has unarmed combat, which I enjoyed. I thought that was pretty good. And I'm glad it had unarmed combat because the shooting wasn't great. It was not good at all. Story-wise, it takes on like a murder mystery, which I thought it was a decent story. Lara sounds equally as savage in this one, if not more so, in her dialogues. But it does have like multiple choice dialogues, but it doesn't affect the story. So I don't know whether they didn't have time to implement it or they didn't really want to implement it. They just wanted to give you a choice in what to say. It'd be nice if there was like some repercussions to what you said. I suppose the only thing with that is it's to give you an idea of Lara's other side of her personality, because she goes from like being the goody two shoes that she is to being an absolute savage bitch. And there's like no in between. It's like I'm gonna shoot you, or cool, let's go. It's a bit funny, but at the same time, it's like it needed some sort of repercussions. I have big capitals for the creepy sexual tension between Lara and that Kurt or Trent or whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. That was weird and it was uncomfortable AF and it sucked ass and it needs erasing from my mind. I haven't actually got a note here for difficulty spike, so it comes into the part that is going to make me rage the most when I talk about the controls. Did I say that was a standing jump? Fucking done. Fucking done with these shitty controls. The control scheme. I had to download a keyboard emulator for the controller to make sure the right buttons were pressed, because there's this weird thing that you can't change the controls. Now you'll be like, yeah, but there's a way to change the controls. Yes, there is a way to change the controls, but when you change the controls, it maps the same button to another button. So you'll be like, oh, I want to change the jump button to this button instead. You'll then have 2 jump buttons, and it'll just forget the other button. And that button that it's forgot, you can't then remap it because the game is just it's just broken. I don't know what it is about changing controls. The game just doesn't like it. So I needed an emulator to tell the game that I'd push the jump button and it was this button on the keyboard. It was a mind fuck. And it was so... There were some things you couldn't do because there just wasn't a button for it. Or you had 2 buttons that did the same thing. I don't understand why it was so messed up. And I don't understand how it is even possible. Also, while we're on the controls, Kurt or Trent or whatever his name is, he can't run. So when you fought the bosses, there's one boss you fight as him. He literally can't do anything because the controls just, A, they don't work, and B, he doesn't run. So it makes it even harder. I had to switch to keyboard and mouse, and the keyboard and mouse controls were really bad. But as soon as I switched to keyboard and mouse for that boss, I did it first try. So I don't know why that was a thing. Apparently it was. I was close to rage quitting that as well. I don't know how they messed up mapping buttons. Which leads on then to the shooting controls. The shooting just wasn't... It flicked to this weird camera view, and then it was just like uncontrollable. It was just not nice. Just generally not nice. It sucked ass, basically. The controls are the worst part of this game. Yep. Because, yeah. again, it's one of those. If you've played it, you'll know. If you haven't played it, you won't understand until you play it. It's kind of like the input lag with these Tomb Raiders. It's you need to have played it to experience it. It was just terrible. Story wise, it's more urban and there's a lot less tombs. People didn't like that, but I'm like, well, you played Tomb Raider 4, which had a section in Alexandria. You had Tomb Raider 3, which had the whole London section. The underground is not a tomb. It feels like it, but it ain't. So don't come on the high ground saying, oh, there's no tombs in Angel of Darkness. So this had a fucking Venice level. No tombs. Don't give me that shit. Graphically, it's on the PS2, so it looks really good. Lara looks really good. Her in a double denim. Double denim's not the coolest, but Lara made it look cool. The music in this game is amazing. Probably the best thing is the soundtrack. Legit. When Nick said about the music being good, it's really, really good. It's probably the best in the entire series. Not the best in the entire series, but up to that so far, it's probably better. I think it's better than some of these. It is probably one of the best. Yeah, the audio is about the only thing that's good in this game. So yeah, do I recommend it? Supposedly the worst game in the series. I personally don't think it's the worst game in the series. Controversial, I know, but I said what I said, and I'm going to die on that hill. It's either that or, for whatever reason, a lot of the bugs have been fixed on the Steam version, or the PC version wasn't as bad as the PlayStation version, which could also be a thing. But other than the controls, which you need that emulator thing for, it's not as bad as people say it is. Oh, there was one bug that I had. The only bug that I came into was, other than the control mapping, I don't know if that's a bug or not, was there was one part where I was running around, the camera locked to Lara's front. So I had to run around with the camera entirely just looking at Lara's front. So, but again, a restart fixed it. Wait, are we playing this game now looking at her front? Please, no. You fucking actually are. This game is a solid C. It's not as bad as everybody says, and I'm dying on that hill. B, D, close. It's a C. It's a C. Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. And maybe at the time, I think maybe because it was on the PlayStation 2 that it was just bad. I don't know. It didn't seem that bad. But maybe it's also the fact that I'm a boomer and I'm just like, oh well, 'tis what it is. This game is how it is. I don't know. There's a funny story actually. The guy that came up with Lara, he didn't like all the sexualization that was going on with the advertising and stuff, so he left. But he came back for these ones, and arguably she got even more sexualized than in these ones, and he okayed it. I'm just like, okay, your thing, bro.